Hey, how we doing? We're back, kind of, sort of. Well, we're back to not live streaming, which is huge. Um, my laptop is still screwed. It is so I'm using my dad's work laptop in order to record this and release it. So it's been a mess. I got a call on what was it? Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night. I got a call Thursday night at like 8:45, and it was the computer place, and they're like, yeah, we know what the problem is. We've identified it, and it's going to be like $400 to fix. And the guy even said to me, he's like, I don't know why this piece is so expensive, but do you want to fix it? And I said, nope. I am going to get like, excuse me, more opinions about it. And then if the consensus is that it's like $400, then I'll just bite the bullet and pay for it, which sucks. But hey, I gotta use it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's been what I've been dealing with. We had the move for Ashlyn and her family into their new home, and last week was a lot of work, but it's over for the most part. The hard part's over, which is great. And I just want to say thank you for being patient with me, for understanding. Life gets busy. I missed a few series, but I'm just really appreciative that you guys, hung in there. We're fine and not clawing at me to get back on here. And hopefully I'll be able to record even when I'm not here. In that case, because Ashlyn has like her own in-law suite now in her new house, so I'll be able to maybe have like a little setup there. I might buy like a mic to keep there, and just bring the webcam with me, and we'll see. We'll play that by ear. But today's episode, we're going over the St. Louis series. We have headlines, go over that St. Louis series, another edition of everybody's favorite repost series. Remember him? Remember him? And finally wrapping it up with the series preview against the LA Angels that is going on in like an hour and 30 minutes. So a lot to get to. First things first, headlines. I'm back. This should be normal schedule after every series, should be normal. Wednesday's episode might come out. I might do an impromptu one. Not sure. Life is crazy right now, but it's fine. So Ranger Suarez through a bullpen went very well. His eligibility to return is September 1st, which is Friday. So we'll see what the Phillies decide to do then. If they decide to move Chris Sanchez to the bullpen, if they've sent him down to bring up another reliever to get another arm out there, if they want to send Lorenzen to the bullpen because he's been spotty his last couple starts and he's been in that bullpen role before. It'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with that, because you have Strom, who's the long man in the bullpen on the left side. So maybe you move Lorenzen there to be their long man on the right side and finally get rid of Dylan Covey. What a concept. I'm talking about lockdown closer Dylan Covey. So it'll be interesting to see what the Phillies decide to do there. And Christian Pache has had swelling in his knee now, so he will continue the rehab. But luckily, like I said previous in the last episode, which feels like forever ago, that Pache's return isn't something the Phillies are like waiting for and relying on, say, like an Angels and Mike Trout, or a Dodgers and Mookie Betts, or um, give me one more, or like the Braves and Acuna. I know Braves and Dodgers are fine without those guys, but I mean they're like a well-oiled machine with them. Um, so the Phillies are really letting Pache take his time, especially with Johan Rojas being as efficient as he has been and been as great as he has been. So it's good to see that. It's good to know that the Phillies, aren't being damaged by the absence of Christian Pache. That their guy Johan Rojas is sticking out there, and I'll be very curious to see what they do after this season. Mostly because you have Marsh, who's a lefty, and then you have Pache and Rojas both under contract. So I'll be interested to see if they trade one of those guys, if they stick with them. And, God, I can imagine an outfield just for one game topper. If the Phillies clinch a playoff spot early for one game, can we please see an outfield of Christian Pache, Brandon Marsh, and Johan Rojas, and just see the majestic of not having to worry about any fly ball hit to the outfield? Can we do that, please, just for one game? Just let those guys out there, because that would be awesome to see those guys run down balls. Nothing would drop in the outfield. It would be stellar. So, and then we kind of have an update on Rhys Hoskins. This quote comes from a Destiny Legardo article over at Phillies Nation. Quote, Thompson painted a less optimistic picture when asked about asked about Hoskins' recovery from the ACL surgery. The Phillies manager, when asked if Hoskins could return this season, said, quote, it's going to be tough because it's been kind of a slow moving time frame here lately. It's going to be difficult, but we're still working on it. Thompson said that there's been a couple, end quote. Thompson said there's been a couple of times where Hoskins' knees bothered him. They're not ruling out for the possibility of return to the postseason. So I'm not holding my breath for Rhys to play again this season. And I just released that TikTok talking about Hoskins being a free agent. And the more I sit with it, and I, for whatever reason, call it ignorance or whatever, I never realized how amazing Rhys Hoskins is. Consistently has over an 800 OPS outside of last year. And can you imagine what this offense would be with Rhys Hoskins mixed in the middle of this? Scary stuff. We were an Austin Meadows single away from experiencing that. But if I'm the Phillies, I'm giving Rhys Hoskins another deal. I'm dishing out, doesn't have to be crazy money. If I'm Rhys, I'm looking at, wanting to prove my worth again on the open market if he decides to go to the open market, because the Phillies could give him a 1-year deal, whatever kind of money he wants, and then see what they can get out of him and give him another deal. He's grown up in the Phillies organization. He might take a hometown discount. But you got to look at teams like the Brewers. Like Rhys Hoskins just feels like a Brewer. It just fits so perfectly because it's been a rotating door first baseman ever since Prince Fielder left, and that was ages ago. So maybe the Brewers dish out the money and get Rhys Hoskins. I can see a team like maybe the Nationals. I doubt he would go to a rival. Look at the teams. I'm thinking American League. Jesus, the Astros, what a blunder they did with signing Jose Abreu. So maybe they'll go after Rhys Hoskins and try to get rid of Abreu. The Stankies, no. The Red Sox, maybe, but they don't look like they're in a position to spend. But Rhys Hoskins peppering that green monster would be a sight to see. So if I'm the Phillies, I'm giving Rhys Hoskins another deal. I'm seeing what he's got. And then if he produces maybe mid-season, give him a contract offer and see where it goes. Because I know at the beginning of the season, I said, like, we're not signing Rhys, we're signing Nola instead, and we'll get to Nola later. But at this point, I mean, I'm not saying Aaron Nola's replaceable, but a guy who has year in and year out produced an 800 plus OPS, it's hard to turn that guy away, and he's going to want money. And I don't blame him for wanting that money because he's earned that money, and everybody in Philly loves him. He, to me, is the Phillies captain. Everybody, you look at Bryce Harper, but to me, it's Rhys Hoskins, and Rhys Hoskins has been the guy who's been here when we've sucked, who played left field for God's sakes, he went as a rookie, finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year voting in 2017. So like, this is a guy that he's been around, like he deserves to get paid, but I hope that he stays here. I want Rhys Hoskins to be on the Wall of Fame. I really, really love Rhys Hoskins, and I hope he stays. I don't know if he does. I don't know if we ever see him in a Phillies uniform again. And that's a harsh reality of the business side of baseball, but that's the reality we're in right now. So that's talking Rhys Hoskins. So let's get into it. I'm a little out of practice. Philly swept the Cardinals. And we saw in the postseason last year. The Phillies are kind of the Cardinals' daddy. They played against them extremely well in the regular seasons. Obviously, swept them in the wild card round last year, and now they just swept them again. And yes, they're not the same team as they were last year, but at the same time, the Phillies have kind of always had success against the Cardinals. They ended our run in 2011, and we promptly 10 years later ended their run. So all is fair in love and war, is what I like to say. So the Phillies took game one, 7-2. My player of the game is the most electric player on the field. It's Garrett Stubbs doing the celebration after he hit that little squib double. Didn't even have to bunt to get that runner on. So the scoring got started in the first with a Paul Goldschmidt 2-run home run, and it was a double to lead off the game. And then I think he got an out. Sanchez got an out, moved the runner over. Or no, it was they got the double, then a rocket to shortstop to prevent the runner, and then the Goldschmidt 2-run home run. To me, I'm like, oh, damn, this is like the Chris Sanchez like snowball start here. But nope, that was it for the Cardinals offensively. Sanchez shut him down, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts. He was fantastic, as he has been all his season. Like Chris Sanchez, it just feels like he's going to give you 6, 7 innings, 3 earned runs or less every time out. He's been a revelation this season because, whenever the Phillies would bring him up in years past, it'd be in spot starts, doubleheader or player goes down or just needs to make a start. And it's been fine, it's been okay, but he's got that changeup dancing, and it's just incredible to see what he's been able to do this season. It reminds me a lot of what Ranger did in 2021, where Ranger had like a 1.5 ERA and was moving from spot to spot, was a closer, was a reliever, was a starter, and obviously stuck as a starter. But it's just crazy to me to think that Ranger Suarez was our closer at one point, and now he is like one of our better starters. Obviously, he's hurt, but coming back soon. And then Garrett Stubbs, I mentioned, had that RBI double in the second. Then Schwarber with an RBI double in the second, make it 3-2. And in my notes here, I even said like he looks like Ranger Suarez, like no, just deep breaths, confident, pound the zone, and if you can hit my stuff, good, but good luck. Stott had a sac fly in the third to make it 4-2. I gotta say this, call it a hot take, call it whatever. Alec Bohm is better than Nolan Arenado. Argue with a wall. I'm just kidding, obviously. But, Arenado had a couple errors in this series, and Bohm didn't. So, and we saw in the wild card series last year. So, am I saying Alec Bohm is the next Nolan Arenado? Maybe. But speaking of Bohm, solo home run in the sixth to make it 5-2, and then Schwarber with a home run in the seventh to make it 6-2. Casty had an RBI double in the seventh to make it 7-2, and the Phillies bullpen locks it down. Alvarado, Bellotti, and Hoffman all through scoreless innings. Just a masterclass of a game. Everybody contributed. It felt like everybody was batting on all cylinders, no pun intended, but the pitching was great. The offense scored, tacked on runs. And how many times have we seen the Phillies team have the big inning and then do nothing the rest of the game? Like something I've noticed the past couple of weeks with this team is, they have the big inning, but then they keep adding on. They add a run here, a run there, a couple runs here, hitting well with runners in scoring position finally. And it's great to see. It was a solid win. It was a great win. And, Chris Sanchez continues to dazzle, and hopefully that remains consistent throughout. And part of me wants Michael Lorenzen to stay in the rotation because he's shown his value there. But another part of me wonders if he can be a secret weapon in the bullpen. I don't know if that's what he would want. We saw it with Zach Eflin last year. Is Michael Lorenzen destined for that role? I think so. I think his stuff is good enough in short inning bursts to lock down stuff. And obviously when we get to if and when we get to the postseason, it's a whole different ball game. Literally, we saw Noah Syndergaard, and we'll talk about Noah Syndergaard later. Wink, wink. We saw Noah Syndergaard in the playoffs last year be an opener, and we saw Zach Eflin be a closer, for God's sakes. We've seen crazy stuff. You saw Chris Sale back in 2018 be the closer for the Red Sox in their World Series win. We see it all the time. We see guys come in and who are traditionally starters work out of the bullpen. We saw Madison Bumgarner years ago. We've seen this before, so I wouldn't be shocked if Lorenzen is transitioned back to the bullpen, because only until last year he was a bullpen guy. The Angels made him a rotation. Was it? Yeah, the Angels made him a rotation guy last year after he left the Reds. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with Lorenzen. To me, I think he should be in the bullpen. Um, Obviously he's starting this week, so we'll see, what happens there. But to me, I think Lorenzen should be in that Zach Eflin long reliever role if and when they make it to the playoffs this season. Then we get the game two, the Phillies 12, Cardinals 1. My player of the game was Zach freaking Wheeler. Zach Wheeler, he has been so good the second half. Has like a 2.8 ER or 2.6 ERA. Just dominant. Just so freaking good in the second half. And I couldn't be happier about it because, it was brutal to watch Nolan Wheeler out there because we know how good they can be. We know their potential. We know the type of pitchers they are. And to see them struggle as much as they did kind of hurt. But luckily for us, he has been dominant. So the only run that the Cardinals got, pardon me, the only run the Cardinals got in this game was a Lucan Baker solo home run. It's actually his first major league home run, so congratulations to him. And I only say congratulations, congratulations, because hitting your first major league home run is an incredible feat. But congratulations, only because the Phillies kicked the hell out of the Cardinals. So congratulations to you, Lucan Baker. And then we get to the third inning. Phillies load the bases with 0 out. And how many times have we been through this same song and dance where they don't do anything with the bases loaded, nobody out? Turner hits into a double play, turns into an RBI, ties it up, double play, and then we're like, oh, there it is. Like, seriously? And then Harper with an RBI single in the third to make it 2-1. 2-1. MV3 is heating up. Bryce has looked like Bryce freaking Harper again, which is awesome to see. And then you had Stott with a solo home run in the fourth. I was actually working, and I had the Phillies game in my pocket, and I had earbuds going right in, and I was listening to it, which was great. And I felt like I got a hell of a lot more work done than I would have otherwise. So the Phillies had that, and then Harper with an RBI single in the fifth, but then Bryce Harper, being Bryce Harper, got thrown out at second base trying to extend into a double. We all know Bryce Harper's a terrible base runner, but whatever. Bohm had a sac fly in the sixth to make it 5-1, and then 5-1, still competitive game if you're the Cardinals. A couple slap hits away, a homer, you're right back in it. The Jesus Christ, the the unraveling the Phillies did in the seventh inning. Turner with an RBI in the seventh to make it 6-1. Then you had Casty with a 3-run homer and Marshy with a 3-run homer to make it 9-1 and then 12-1. And then you had the daycare hug at the end, which is awesome. I love those guys, and the fact that they're signed to like 2027 just makes me like so happy that these guys are going to be together for a while, and hopefully the Phillies give them extensions, kind of a la the Braves, or once JT's off the books, and once Wheeler, I'm giving Wheeler another contract. That's an off-season discussion. I'm going to go one of these episodes in the off-season. I'm going to go through each contract on the entire roster and being like, trade this, sign there, do that, whatever. And full contract breakdown of the Philadelphia Phillies coming not soon, but like, you know what I mean. Probably closer to like February once all the free agency stuff is over. And maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably forget about this soon. So anyway. And then you just had lockdown closer Dylan Covey in the ninth, shut it down. Zach Wheeler, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 10 strikeouts. Just Zach Wheeler being Zach Wheeler, being one of the most underrated pitchers in the league. I feel like nobody really appreciates how great he has been this season. Obviously, the ERA doesn't stand out, but if you look deeper into his numbers, Zach Wheeler has been elite this season. Just a lot of bad defense, a lot of bad blue pits that are killing him. But Wheeler's been Zach freaking Wheeler again. He's probably going to get Cy Young votes. Wouldn't be shocked if he's like top 10 in the Cy Young this year. So it's just awesome to have him back being Zach freaking Wheeler. He had Soto pitch an inning, which I thought was interesting in a blowout. I guess get him some work or excuse me. One second, please. Sorry. Figuring stuff out. My apologies. Any Hoosers. Yeah, I guess get Gregory Soto some work. So there was that. And then we get to yesterday's game. Phillies won 3-0. My player of the game was Aaron freaking Nola. Aaron Nola shut me the hell up because I went on a rant in the last episode talking about how I don't care what the hell he does. I don't want to give Aaron Nola money, and part of me still believes that. However, what he did yesterday was fantastic. 7 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. He was dominant. It reminded me a lot of that Cardinals start. Ironically enough, was it last year or the year before when he complete game? It just his stuff was jumping and just moving and being Aaron Nola. It was awesome to see, and I I think there has to be a new game plan with him. It looked like a lot of his stuff was down low, and then his curveball would hit down low, rather than his starting eye level high, and he hangs those curveballs. So his past 2 starts have been really good. I hope this is a momentum builder for Aaron Nola. I really hope that he turns it around and becomes the guy we know he can be, but only time will tell. Scoring got started with a leadoff Schwarbaum on the first pitch, make it 1-0. Turner had a sac fly in the fifth, and then Harper had an RBI single in the seventh. So, it looked, the Phillies added on, like they do all have been doing recently in this hot stretch that they've been in. And I love the fact that Rob Thompson didn't bring out Nola for the eighth, because how many times have we seen this blow up in their face where the starter pitches 6, 7 solid innings and they bring him out for another inning and they do the bed, especially a guy like Aaron Nola. And I know I just praised him, but we've seen it so many times with Aaron Nola where he's been dominant, 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 dominant. And then we get to the inning and he doo-doos the bed. So I thought it was smart by keeping him at 7 innings, 7 amazing innings for Aaron Nola. You bring in Alvarado. And Kimbrel, not going to lie, Kimbrel worries me a little bit. Kind of looks toasted. I wouldn't be shocked if they do like a Phantom IL thing, or if they just don't pitch him for a week or two. Not a week or two, but like a week, because he kind of looks gassed right now. He's not locating his fastball as well as he once was. That knuckle curve is not really playing off of that, because obviously if you're not locating that, you can eliminate one pitch and the pitcher or the hitters can just sit on that knuckle curve and not swing at it. Or if he hangs it, they bang it. One of those things. So if I'm the Phillies, I'm kind of giving Kimbrel, reining it in a little bit on Craig Kimbrel. So there's that. So it was just solid, just a great series, a big show me series, and a series where the Phillies were like, we are the better team. We are the dominant team. Like, we're not screwing around here. Like, we are the better team than you. We are going to beat you. I don't care what you say. We're going to win. And it was awesome. It was just great. And I know I've been saying awesome a lot because this series was awesome, because it was a professional series. It was a series where the Phillies just looked like just such a better team. They finally played up to their competition instead of playing down to them, because how many times have we seen the Phillies get their ass beat, get by a team who's worse than them? We saw it with the Nationals, who the Nationals are sneaky good. They're the best worst team in baseball. So put it there. But how many times have we seen that? The Phillies just not play well against bad competition. We saw it with the Royals. We've seen it with the Guardians. No, they swept the Tigers, but barely. But point is, we've seen this series 1,000 times where they don't show up, and they showed up in this series big time and took it from them, which was just, it's awesome. So some keynotes: the Phillies have officially broken the St. Louis Cardinals, which, you know, that picture of Jason Worth where he has like that cigar and he's like sitting there. Right here, let me pull it up because I use it commonly when talking about the Phils. Give me a second here. Give me one second. Let me pull this John up. It's where is this picture here of Jason Worth like smoking that stogie? I use it, often, but they've broken the Cardinal spirit, which is great. Nola Wheeler, not gonna say it, but like, come on. Are they not not gonna say it. Oh, yeah. You want to know how many times the Phillies pissed me off this week? Cerro. I got to bring this up with me when I watch the game in my room because I got to keep the bit alive. Bryce Harper is back to being Bryce Harper again. He's just on another level, hitting like 500 in his past like 10 games or something. It's stupid. The guy's an impossible out right now, and the team just feeds off that energy. They feed off of him. We saw it in the postseason last year. We've seen it in 2021 when he won the MVP, when he carried this team for 2 months of the season, when you were throwing out Freddie Galvis. I love Freddie, but come on. You were throwing out Freddie Galvis and Ronald Torreyes and Brad Miller. Again, I love Brad Miller, but Jesus, that guy is not an everyday starter. We've seen Bryce carry this team. And when your stars are clicking, when Trey Turner, who has been incredible since that standing ovation, is clicking, Schwarber's been great, Casty's been great, Bomer's been great, Stott's been great. This team is a juggernaut offensively. And if you get your two aces back in Nola and Wheeler, oh God, I said it. I said the forbidden word. But if you get those guys to be those guys, mixed in with what Chris Sanchez is doing, mixed in what we know what Walker and Suarez can bring you, whatever Lorenzen gives you at this point is gravy. And that bullpen. Sir Anthony has looked great. Alvarado's back. Kimbrel's been fine. Soto, still worried about. Bilotti's looked really good since being recalled. Who else is out there? I'm getting amped up. Strom's been a revelation. Hoffman's been great. Like, this team is really freaking good, man. This team is really freaking good. The Phillies, come on. Speaking of good, Brandon Marsh has quietly had an 846 OPS this season, and I think nobody is talking about that. Not only is he an excellent defensive player, like, he is like freaking great with the glove or with the bat. Like, he's finally breaking out. This is the player that the Angels thought they were getting. And Brandon Marsh, and he's so freaking it's freaking great. I kind of want to rewatch the series last year against the Angels when Brandon Marsh was a part of that team, and just to see Brandon Marsh. Just to see Brandon Marsh. Anyway, slightly concerned about Kimbrel. I talked about that a little bit. Rudolfo Castro, see you in Alcatraz, buddy. See you in prison, because dear God, he has been a disaster here. Batting 111 with a 311 OPS. Dear, what are we doing? He quite literally is worse than Josh Harrison, and I didn't think that was possible. So I don't know what the plan with Rodolfo Castro is. I don't know. He had that defensive blunder in game 2. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not concerned about it because he's not an everyday guy. So whatever. But dear God, come on. And that's that for the Cardinal series. We now transitioning to everybody's favorite, rebranding. Remember him? This is a series where I go over some of the Phillies pitchers, starters who have touched the Phillies baseball throughout the past decade. And I got some guys for you. I got a guy who was spotted in WBC, a guy who was mentioned before, who was recently DFA'd yesterday, and a guy who, I forget who the last guy is. This is embarrassing. Oh, and a guy who Matt Klentak thought was going to be the second coming of Jesus Christ. My first guy is a guy who was a part of the excellent 2015 Philadelphia Phillies. A guy that I was looking forward to seeing and loathed entirely after. That is, of course, is Servino Gonzalez. I bet that's a name you didn't think you'd ever hear again. Gonzalez was signed by the Phillies as an international free agent in 2011. Features a fastball, curveball, changeup, sinker, cutter. Made his major league debut April 28, 2015. Spent 2015 to 2016 with the Phillies. 34 games, 7 starts, 66 innings to a 6.68 ERA. So really not good. Super not good. He was just bad all the way around. I mean, this entire Phillies team was just bad all the way around. But this guy in particular was super, super bad. Not like the movie. Traded to Miami after being designated for assignments for cash in 2017. 2017 to 2018 was in AAA for the Miami Marlins. 61 games, 7 starts, 114 innings to a 5.05 ERA. He was released in 2018 in June. So just not a very good pitcher, period. Not very good. Signed with the Seraperos de Setio of the Mexican Baseball League, and then was released soon after. He then signed with the Garrios de Oxa of the Mexican League and was released in July of 2022. Shout out to my amazing pronunciation of all these Spanish words. I failed Spanish twice, so there you go. Actually appeared in WBC, 2 games, 2.1 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3.86 ERA, locked down for Team Panama. And that was the last we've seen of Gonzalez. So doubt he ever puts on a big league uniform again. He's only 30, I think. Yeah, 30. So could see him come back. Who knows? Who knows? My next guy was a guy who I hated, but then loved because he was a Philly. He was started as a Met, went to the Phils. You know who I'm talking about. It is Thor himself, Noah Syndergaard. Syndergaard was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays in the first round of the 2010 MLB draft. Features sinker, changeup, fastball, curveball, cutter, slider, split, the whole damn kitchen sink Mr. Syndergaard has. He was actually traded to the Mets in 2012, a part of the R.A. Dickey trade. It was the Mets got Noah Syndergaard, Travis d'Arnaud, Josh Beck, and Wilmer Bercia. And the Blue Jays got R.A. Dickey, Josh Tolley, and Mike Nikas. So a really good haul of big leaguers. I mean, you look at the 2 names the Mets got in Syndergaard and d'Arnaud, and Syndergaard was really good for them, especially in the World Series run in 2015. And Travis d'Arnaud obviously didn't pan out as a Met, but has been killing it for the Braves. Made his major league debut May 12th, 2015. Spent 2015 to 2021 with the New York Mets. 121 games, 120 starts, 718 innings to a 3.32 ERA. He's really, really good. However, everything kind of took a downspin when he had to get Tommy John surgery in 2020. Signed a 1-year, $21 million deal with the LA Angels in 2022. 15 games, 80 innings to a 3.83 ERA. And then we all know what happened. Went to the Phillies. Phillies got Noah Syndergaard. The Angels got Mickey Monia and Jadel Sanchez. So that was the Mickey Moniak trade. And Mickey is having an incredible season so far with the Angels. So I'm happy that he's getting an opportunity there. This was a must-win move. The Phillies needed another starter. They looked at Noah Syndergaard. They got Noah Syndergaard. And I wasn't mad at the move, when they made it. I was like, that fits, that works. The Phillies rotation at that point, it was real top heavy. You had Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, and Ranger Suarez. But then after that, you had Kyle Gibson, who at this point his arm was falling off. And then the 5th starter, you had Bailey Falter, you had Zach Eflin, you had this is embarrassing. Who else? Chris Sanchez probably made some starts, but I think it was mainly Bailey Falter at this point. But they needed another starter, and they got Noah Syndergaard. And with the Phillies, 10 games, 9 starts, 54 and 2/3 to a 4.12 ERA. So not bad. It was fine. In the postseason, 8 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs to 3.83 ERA. So really, really solid in the playoffs. He was fine for the Phillies. A guy that something's going on upstairs. But a guy that the Phillies needed, and he did his job. Like it's the best thing you can say about Noah Syndergaard's tenured with the Phillies is he did his job. And then after that, after he left the Phillies in free agency, signed a 1 year, $13 million deal with the Dodgers, and it was a disaster. 12 games, 55 and a third to a 7.16 ERA. So if the Dodgers couldn't fix him, nobody could. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they tried to change up his mechanics, tried to change up his arsenal. I have no idea why Noah Syndergaard was so bad because he was fine with the Phillies. He was fine with the Angels. He really took a downspin. He was traded to Cleveland in July. They got Noah Syndergaard, and Dodgers got Ahmed Rosario. With Cleveland, he was fine. 5 games, 27 and a third to a 4.94 ERA. So not great, but fine. And ironically enough, yesterday he was DFA'd by the Cleveland Guardians. So I'm sure a team, I don't know what team will pick him up because he's been fine. Maybe a team like the Orioles who need another arm because I can't believe the Orioles are in first place with that rotation. God, what team? The Reds, the Nationals. I can see just signing them randomly. This that'd be so funny if the Yankees signed Noah Syndergaard and he had to cut his hair. That would be so funny. They probably just let him like put it up in a bun, but I don't know. The Yankees suck. I hate them. Anyway, that's Noah Syndergaard. And the next guy was a guy that I saw live with my own two eyes in a Phillies uniform, and boy golly, was it terrible. And I'm talking about the Vargas, Jason Vargas. Jason Vargas was drafted by the Florida Marlins in the second round, 2004 MLB draft. Featured a fastball, changeup, sinker, curveball, cutter. Spent 2005, 2006 with the Marlins, 29 games, 18 starts, 116 and two-thirds to a 5.25 ERA. So not great. He was traded to the Mets in the 2006 offseason. The Mets got Vargas and Adam Bostick, and the Marlins got Matt Lindstrom and Henry Owens. Only pitched in 2 games for the Mets in 2006, 10 and a third to 12.19 ERA, so really not good. Missed the entire 2008 season with the torn labrum, and was traded to Seattle in 2008 as part of a 3-team trade. This trade was a mess to figure out who went where and whatever. So the Mets got J.J. Putz, Sean Green, Jeremy Reed. The Guardians got Joe Smith and Luis Valbuena, and the Mariners made out like bandits. They got Andy Chavez, Aaron Heilman, Michael Clado, Jason Vargas, Ezekiel Carrera, Mike Carp, and Franklin Gutierrez. So they got a haul from these two teams. So there's a lot of moving parts. Spent 2009 to 2012 with the Seattle Mariners, 119 games, 110 starts, 702 and two-thirds to a 4.09 ERA. So really wasn't bad. He then was traded to the LA Angels in 2012 for Kendrys Morales. Spent only 1 season with the LA Angels, 24 games, 150 innings to a 4.02 ERA. Actually, 1 pitcher of the month in May. So good for you, Jason. Signed a 4-year, $32 million deal with the Kansas City Royals in 2013. Spent 2014, 2017 with the Royals. 74 games, 742 and two-thirds pitched to a 3.88 ERA. 2015 World Series champion, even though he only pitched half the season because he had to get Tommy John surgery. So that's why his innings aren't exactly there. And same with the games. He missed the rest of 2015, majority of 2016, but was an all-star in 2017, his next full season. That prompted the Mets to give him a 2-year, $16 million deal to return. Spent 2018 to half of 2019 with the Mets, 39 games, 38 starts, 186 and third to a 4.88 ERA. And then Matt Klentak said, "Hey guys, how do you like Austin Bossert for Jason Vargas?" Okay. Vargas traded to the Phillies, 11 games, 55 innings, 5.37 ERA. Just so bad. Like, what the hell was Matt Klentak thinking of trading for Jason Vargas? I'll never know, but that's not for me to figure out now, is it? And that's thus concludes another edition of Remember Him? Remember Him? And to wrap up, we have the series preview against the LA Angels. We have Taijuan Walker versus Lucas Giolito tonight. We have Michael Lorenzen versus Tyler Anderson. And we have to be determined versus Reed Detmers. It's probably going to be Chris Sanchez. against Reed Detmers. This Angels team is spiraling. We've seen it, but they, obviously they have Shohei Ohtani, who's the AL MVP. Mickey Moniak's great. Logan O'Hoppy's back, so I can't. Is he in the lineup? Hold on, let me see the Angels lineup tonight. Give me a second. Give me a second to look at the Angels lineup tonight. Angels. So let's see. Their starting lineup is as followed. They're not released. Oh, I thought they. That's just embarrassing. Hold on. Oh, let me go on the app like an absolute imbecile. Oh God, give me a second here. So we have. Oh, we have Moniak and O'Hoppy both in the lineup today for the LA Angels. So I'm sure they're gonna torch us. Because that's just the way it is. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys again so much for sticking with me through this period in between, podcast episodes. So I do appreciate that. Feel free to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. See you.